Hi, James!
Hi, James.
What's happening? Hang on a minute. Why are you all dressed up? I'm literally in my pajamas. You know what? It's fine.
You do you, babe. You
I am
do
doing
you.
it. I love how you're in a shirt. I'm literally in like.
I'm in this shirt I entered Rise and Fall in, but I had a shit blazer over the top.
You know what's
Fucking hell.
funny?
I've literally
James
just had a-
actually looks
I've-
good. He looks
does.
good, but
I
he's
don't
just
know why he's
saying.
complaining.
Yeah, I know. James, how are you?
I'm good. How are you all?
Very
Good.
good. Welcome to
You
the
look like a
Uncut
ruler
Show.
sitting there. Like, you look like a ruler still. Like,
Me? What's that in my
Yeah.
shirt? I've literally just demolished a McDonald's.
Great preparation, James. I demolished a McDonald's. Right, what's up, guys?
Ease, how are ya?
I'm good. Nice to finally meet you.
Yes, I'm saying we need a night out, all of us lot. That's a definite. So,
Absolutely.
how's life after the show, mate? How are you finding it?
Yeah, it's a bit of a whirlwind. It's weird.
It is.
Obviously, it's been a complete week now since obviously it finished airing, and it feels like almost like the show's fallen off the face of the earth in a way. But then also like obviously got all these really cool opportunities coming up. So it's a weird one. It's like two different worlds at the moment, like back to normality, but then also doing like things like this. So
It takes over your life, doesn't it? When the show's on, like the social media, like watching it, reliving it, watching it back. So it is a bit of an anticlimax when it stops. You're like, okay, so but how's life when you're going out and getting recognised and stuff like that? Things a bit crazy now, is it?
well, I wouldn't say crazy. I mean, we're more in London. I'm recognised more than where I'm from, because obviously I live in Newport, which is quite a small town. Look, so not that many people would have watched the show from where I'm from. But I've been recognised at home as well. But I'm not used to it as such. But it's like having a conversation with a stranger, isn't it? It's just nice.
Yeah.
You just
Yeah.
gotta
Tell me where you got recognized. I want to know. What, how, when, where, what?
What? Well, in London, the three.
No.
Me, Connor, and Marina got recognised in Chelsea, didn't we? Holding a bottle of wine and some vapes before we went to meet everyone.
Classy.
Yeah, before we went to meet
Got
everyone.
recognised in a restaurant as well, and we got a free shot of limoncello.
Yeah.
I
Actually,
bet you,
I went
man.
out the other week. And I was recognised in like this bar as well, which is really cool.
In a spa? Did you have
In a
clothes on?
bar,
Oh,
not a spa.
have you gone back to rewatch it again? Like to just, or are you just not gonna ever go back to watching it?
Are you watching the show?
Yeah.
are you guys watching the show again?
I rewatched
No.
before the final only because I wanted to get clips, and that was it.
Okay.
I rewatched the first episode, weirdly enough. I rewatched the first episode where we all went into the mixer and, and just saw how it all, like, just the first episode, that's all I've watched. And obviously then I just watched the second, no, it's first and second, actually. And then obviously up to when Ramona obviously went and me and Marina were rising. Because
Okay.
actually, funny enough, I forgot the reason why they didn't pick me, but obviously it was Prince clearly thought I was going to align with Cheryl. That was the real reason. So many people were threatened that me and Cheryl were in this massive alliance when it wasn't the case. Actually, my alliance was with James.
I got it's your
Yeah.
personalities, that's why. Because you're loud, confident personalities, people thought it would have aligned straight away. Maybe that's why.
When you watch yourself on TV, James, is it? I thought it was really weird when I was watching myself. I absolutely hated it, to be honest with you. So I hated my voice. I hated how I looked. I was really unimpressed.
I bloody loved it. I absolutely loved watching myself on TV. Honestly, I loved it. I honestly got no complaints.
You know why, James? Because you do a lot of beauty stuff. I've
Yeah.
seen your skincare routines. I've
My
seen all
skincare.
this crap that you're doing.
The
This
roller,
is why.
the roller.
Well, no. Do you know what? It's not. It's part of my little bit of self-care, isn't it? So I look after myself. I'm proud of how I look. So why not look after myself? So yeah, I loved it. Like, don't get me wrong. And there was parts of it when I was like, shit, I look so tired. Like one eye was literally like this for one episode, and I was like, Jesus Christ, I can tell I had 5 hours sleep that one night. But yeah, no, do you know what? I'm so used to like being in front of people and talking to people for like part of my job anyway. So I'm quite used to being on show in a way. So it was just like I don't know. I'm just used to it.
There's a lot of people who don't know who you are and what
Thank
you've
you.
done or what but they only seen the James that is on the show on
Yeah.
Rise and Fall. So it's good to maybe Tell us a little bit about
Yeah.
you, you know.
Name where I'm from. Okay. Hi everyone. I'm James from Newport, South Wales. I'm an employment coach and also a fitness instructor as well. And yeah, I'm just me. What you saw on the show is what you get in real life. Obviously, I'm what you didn't see is all the funny shit we got to do and all the funny shit we got to say. And obviously Connor can back me up on some of the conversations we had. But there's just more to me than just what the show was. Obviously, I have a lot of interest in other things. Like I am quite passionate about the LGBT community, which is like obviously what I'm part of that community myself. And just wellness and health, really, and mental health and physical health. I'm really passionate about it. And I feel like I'm on this earth to be a service to people and to serve the masses in terms of helping people be better versions of themselves.
An employment coach, is that like if someone's like doesn't have an employment, you will help them get employed?
Yeah, you basically help rehabilitate people back into working life. So some of them can be on health journeys. Some of them just haven't worked for a long time. Some of them are like mums who have been out of work for like 9 to 12 months. Some of them people have lost their partners and they've never worked. They've had to go and work for the first time.
James, that's so nice. I didn't know you did this.
Yes, that's my full-time job. So I went straight out of obviously filming the show to helping people find a job.
It says a lot about you guys. Well, I think we're the traitors. Like all of you came across really, really well, and I think genuine. I didn't see the ones that I thought came across well. I think it was like it was quite natural. There wasn't any acting, there wasn't any. But you just all portrayed yourself in a really nice manner, I think, and especially at the beginning when you all came in. It's a bit nervous when you first come on the show, and you're all a little bit conscious of how you're acting, what you're saying.
Yeah.
But yeah,
you got right at the cameras. You see a camera literally doing.
Yeah.
I walked into them so many times.
Reminded us of our show. I think you guys. I think that again, the casting they smashed it.
Can you imagine Kieran and James together as rulers? I can.
We'd smash
I
that.
can. I reckon we do a really good job, Kieran. We would have done such a good job. I reckon we would have smashed it.
I reckon
I think
James.
we're both quite diplomatic.
I think you would have been a good traitor as well, James.
Oh,
I'd love to be a traitor. Honestly, that would be my dream.
I could see that watching the show. I could tell, you're having your little sneaky talks and things because we saw it all, didn't we? I don't know how long your chats were for, but you had quite strong alliances in the penthouse, didn't you?
I think my alliances were quite strong until they weren't. I think it was down to the other people in the alliances, obviously such as Connor, who became quite threatened with their place. So they had to switch their own alliances to keep themselves safe, which is fair enough. It's a game at the end of the day.
It was just your friendship with Jack. I knew you were. I thought your alliance with Jack was going to be a lot stronger than ours, and I thought you're going to sway because they remember that conversation we had, and I said, Jack saying the reason he's voting for me is because he wants to keep his place with the grafters, and you went, he does have a point. And then at that point, I thought he's going to do it to me. And then obviously Jeff come up to me and was like, Moses, because I was earwigging on their conversation. I was like, I need to know. And they were like, do you want to be here? And I was like, of course I want to be here. And they was like, right, we need to take James out. And obviously prior to that, I could have stayed a lot longer if I'd have just listened to Cheryl and I could have got rid of Jack, and it would have been. But that's my place was on thin ice for so long.
Yeah.
And the only way to keep that was getting rid of you.
Well, that's the thing, wasn't it? So because you were on thin ice, you had to switch up the alliances. Whereas I personally don't think I think I was quite strong at the point I ended up leaving.
Yeah, I thought so.
I don't think I was voted out for being weak.
I don't know how the dynamics would have been. Like, let's say me and Jeff had the tiebreak and we both went. Where it would have gone once Moses went and Sydney was up, and then there was you, Jack, Rossi, and Sid. Because I still don't believe that Sydney. I think that would be where if you didn't go that day, that would be where I think you would have gone, because Jack would never have voted for Rossi or Sydney.
Yeah, or Sydney. Yeah,
it would have been like quite refreshing to see me go and then watch it back and see how the dynamics did change, because obviously being public enemy number one for like 3-4
but don't you think that's interesting? Because in the basement, obviously they were all talking about you, Connor, and strangely in the basement everybody made an agreement that when we go up there we're going to keep the grafters up there. As soon as people got up into the penthouse,
they threw each other out.
Marina
I
was very
know.
close with Cheryl as well. Marina and Cheryl were like that. So what you don't obviously see, obviously it's filmed 24 hours a day, and what you don't see is that you do see other friendships forming, which make
Yeah.
you question yourself. Because
Right.
even at that meal, do you remember that my first elimination, James? We were sat next to each other with the roast dinner. You were white as a ghost.
I was, wasn't immune from it. And
Yeah.
obviously then all of a sudden, I don't know what happened. I literally thought I was going to die because I just couldn't cope with the pressure at that time because it was all these big decisions being made. And then you were sort of just instantly thinking, right, what are they going to do? What's Connor going to do to me? Obviously, he's up here. Could he have a different motive? Could him and Marina have a different motive? So it was very much like my head was doing a million different things. And the last thing I could think of was shoving a lemon in a fucking chicken.
That was very savage, that red room, wasn't it, Vidge? Because at least when we did our votes, we could write it there was a few of us writing it on a slate, then we could hold it up. We had a bit of a debate similar to yours, but yours, you only had 5 people sat at that table. So that was really personal, I felt.
For me, when it was me and Jeff going, it was the fact me and Jeff were sat next to each other. He's like, James. I was like,
know.
Jeff. I was like, hello, Jeff. It's like you couldn't put it better. Like the people were like, was it scripted? I was like, obviously not. No, not scripted.
His wife's birthday was coming up. So.
I didn't need to go.
In the finale, when I was horrible to James, I said, enlighten me, Jeff. And he went, because I was tired. It was my wife's birthday and there was a football game on. And he said, the only way I could do it was being an absolute ass to James.
Yeah.
So that is the reason, I had to do what I had to do because I knew one of us were going.
No, James, actually, that should make you feel better. At least then his words never,
He wasn't personal.
Regardless if his words were true or not, I don't take it because I know what he said was completely wrong and irrelevant.
Yeah, it is wrong.
So
do you guys think sometimes, I know I had a fade that sometimes yourself was your own worst enemy on the show where you doubt yourself and you think
really.
Your normal logical thinking would not come into play?
Like me and James we were both in the basement and Jack, in a sense, like when me, you and Jack were there, like Jack was very chill, but me and you were very immersed in the game on like how we were going to do it. And, so I felt very headstrong there. And then I got up there and the first day when because the original plan is me and James didn't communicate. Like we were always going to stick together, whether it was Matt or Marina, but we didn't know. And we were trying to do this eye movement with each other. We made sure that the thing that me and James always did was made sure we were opposite each other.
Yeah.
So if we needed to change our mind, we made eye contact on who we were getting rid of. We were very smart, but at that time, our miscommunication was screwed because I was saying like that, let's get rid of Marina, and he was just staring at me, and I'm like, I don't know if he's agreed.
Matt, so you got to vote first. So Matt's came up for you first, and as soon as that came up, I literally sank into my seat. It was like, oh fuck, like that. But you're lucky you got to change.
I think I probably would have been a bit more secure if I went, see you later, Matt. But I never knew where they wanted because when I watched it back, they were cheering that I changed to Marina. They were like, yes, yes, yes. And then the next day, they were like, Connor needs to go. It was like very hypocritical. And then none of them were decisive. I'm the indecisive one. I get that. But Jack could have voted me off 1, 2, 3. I mean, more times than every vote he could have got rid of me, and he never did.
No, he didn't. He always had a reason not to.
A reason.
Always a reason. He was going to vote you off, and he ended up voting at Cheryl. I think it's because I sort of defended you at one point because everyone was going for you. I was like, yeah, but you made one mistake. That doesn't mean you're a bad person.
I think Rossi kind of would have influenced that last vote, though. Rossi was
no. That was before. That was when Jack rose from. He was immune, and then Cheryl went and said,
"Oh yeah."
So I was like, hang on, like this. He's made one mistake. Like, don't crucify him over it.
And then the profiteroles came, and that was it. Like the nail in the coffin, as Sophie would say.
Yeah. And Jack was like, he's like, you should have won with James. Jack was like,
James,
it's all fun and games, really, isn't it? Like it would have been nice if we all started as rulers, and then we all just had to slowly drop.
Yeah, I feel that it brings out people's human side. Like, this is how people act if push comes to shove in the real world. Like, what happens in the show is what happens in real life.
Yeah.
People want to rise, and whoever they influence to make sure that they stay on top, they will do that. So I feel like, it's a game, but it really does make you self-reflect and think, is this the kind of person I am?
Yeah.
Like, people have to also understand that Like,
But I
Doggy
do
dog
want to
world
say,
out there.
life is like that. But I don't want you all to think, or even you, Sam, that you need to be like that to be
No.
like great and or successful or be ruling, like, or be a CEO or be something, you know, make a lot of money and build wealth. Because success and wealth really comes after you purely have good intentions in what you are doing and what you're good at. And many people who are finding shortcuts or stabbing people in the back and, you know, see the success, they, as quickly as they gained it, is as quickly as they will lose it. This is how this game really reflects the experience. But if you go slowly in a pace and kind of do it right, and grafting, which really means building the foundation of your business and growth slowly and eventually without giving up, which is doing all the challenges, you'll eventually kind of get there. And I think if you had more time, Sam, you definitely would have sat in that red room.
Mm.
I would have loved to. Oh my God. I was quite frustrated because everybody looks so good.
Say, did they give you a wardrobe or were they your own clothes?
Yeah, I took a suit home. I took shoes home, trousers. I took my ruler's dressing gown with me. I was like, I'm fucking going. I'm taking everything.
You know what makes me sad? That I spent a couple of grand on like outfits for the show, and I didn't even get to wear all of them.
If you could pick one to go on after, what would be your pick out of all the shows out at the moment? If you could go on something next, what would it be?
Go something next. I'd like to do Hunted or Race Across the World.
Yeah, Race Across the World.
They said that, yeah. Good one, yeah.
I'd love to do The Traitors, but I just think it's a bit close to home. It's like, I don't think they'd literally physically allow me to.
See, I personally think that The Traitors was more savage than Rise and Fall because you had some really good bits and you had your company with the contestants. Honestly, you were talking to people and you kept thinking, you're a bloody liar.
Yeah.
The whole time,
you couldn't trust
24/7,
anyone.
you couldn't really trust anybody.
Faye, who was the one person that you did trust and you like, faithful or traitor? Who was the one person you thought, no matter what? Amanda.
We were like this.
Amos and Maddie, I knew I would have put my life on both of them. I knew, well, obviously at the end I knew because I was a traitor. But Amos, I knew, and I just knew Maddie. There was those two that I was adamant, 100% correct. I just knew they were faithful. I knew it. Learning the game, if you don't have a traitor as a friend, you're dead there. Yeah. So you have to have an alliance on both sides, basically.
Yeah.
After we got Amanda, I had enough votes with me, Andrea, Maddie, and I could have swayed Aaron, and Will was my number one target. I never knew a list, but Will, after Amanda, he was going to be my number one target. But what I didn't see was that little ace card he had up his sleeve, the bastard, about the ultimatum. So it was Aaron, myself, or Will. So it wasn't hard to work out, but you just had to be so careful what you said. And the trick to that game, friends close, enemies closer, if you want to, simple as.
Yeah. And I think that's why I lasted so long, because Amanda and we were like this in there the whole time. There's even a scene, I don't know if you remember it, Colin, or you might remember, because you said you watched it religiously. There was a scene where I went into the library room and she was sat in a chair, and I said, "Oh, what are you doing?" She said, "Maddie." I said, "Maddie?" I said, "What about Maddie?" She said, "Oh my God, didn't you know about all that EastEnders stuff?" And
I remember that. And she was so, do you know what? Amanda is just iconic, isn't she? When she first got picked, I was like, I don't know how she's going to play this.
She was amazing.
Because in my head,
amazing.
I thought Andrea was going to be picked. I thought they're going to put Andrea as a traitor. But the thing is, do you think if she was a traitor, anyone would have had... Did anyone actually vote for Andrea at all?
No.
Asked a question though at the table one time, and really, because he was the only one that could. He is close with us, so he was the only one that
Amos.
could. Yeah. But they remember them. So when you're in it, you have to switch your mindset. The traitors have to keep a little safety net around them as well. So people that don't think they're traitors. So Amanda had her little clique. Will had his little clique. Elizabeth out on her own a little bit, unfortunately for her. But have a little safety net around them. And if they've got, again, at some point as well, guys, it works out to a numbers game. You start doing the math, the votes, and you go, okay,
It's so weird who they thought was traitors, because when Nikki, the two I thought, how do they think that there is Nikki and Ivan? I would never, from what I watched on telly, they were two people I thought, how are they getting them two? Like Nikki,
Yeah, but
never would have
remember,
thought.
you knew who the traitors were.
Yeah, see,
we never knew, and that's what I keep saying to my friends.
Or how many traitors?
Yeah, we didn't know.
yeah.
We didn't know. It was always, it was difficult. It was like 22 people walking in the room. You give 4 yellow cards and you give the rest red cards. And you've got to guess who's got the red cards and yellow cards. It's virtually impossible.
That's what made us to say to you about you doubt yourself. Your paranoia, you had to look at everyone in there, and then you just keep doing laps, going, or they farted out of place. You were like, Jesus, is it them? Do you know what I mean? You homed in on them, so it was crazy.
I think the traitors is definitely a harder game.
Oh,
Mentally, that would ruin me, I think. I'd love it, but it would ruin me. But I think part of me would want to be a traitor, because you've only got to survive the round table. When you are a faithful, I know it's hard to try and survive that round table.
You've got 2 bits to worry about. You've got
so being a faithful, you're laid in bed like, is this my last day? You're like, poor Aisha, she got in and she was out. Like, you never really got to see Aisha, and I thought, because was it you? She was a little bit cutthroat. Yeah. She really wasn't. She was a bit like diva-ish with you, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was. She didn't know me. I didn't meet her, you see. And again, when you don't meet people, it's sometimes first impressions, isn't it?
I think James has summed it up quite well. Unfortunately, it's never going to happen. We're never going to be able to do Rise and Fall because it's quite similar. Because they have some characteristics, don't they? So it'd be such a shame, but yeah.
Or maybe they would surprise and throw people into each other's games.
If they took a calculated risk, propped us all up and done it, I think they'd have far worse, because we're the original cast from both series, and you learn a lot when you're in them shows. And I think you would go in again. And I definitely wouldn't get emotionally attached if I went in next time.
It would make better TV.
Yeah, that's what I
think they would do something brand new for All Stars. You know what I mean? Like an All Stars sort of reality show where they
a crossover.
Yeah.
That would be good TV, 100%.
When there's been 3 series of each, they might go like Ramona from series 1, Jackie from series 2 of Rise and Fall, Faith from series 1, Traitor, and then they do like a complete different game, like an all-star. It could be something like with a mixture of both.
It could be how they filmed, obviously, Rise and Fall 24 hours a day. They could do like a Traitors where they film that 24 hours a day and like some amazing castle or something. Then that would be really, really cool to like have that combined.
Also, they've got Squid Games coming out as well.
Well, yeah.
I was about to say that Squid Games. I'm so excited. 4.57 million, guys.
With 400 contestants.
Yeah,
over 400 contestants. But look at that prize fund, 4.57 million. Even I'm like, yeah, baby. Give me a challenge. I'll do now anything.
That would have been intense. That final, you wouldn't want to imagine being in that. Imagine coming second place. Like you are in touching distance.
Anna, I would throw you off a cliff for 4.57 million.
I just can't.
Parting gifts to everyone.
But what about the task?
Yeah.
Does anybody know anybody that's been in the Squid Game?
We might do, but they're probably not saying anything. It's guaranteed that one of us are going to know someone out of the 500 people, surely.
Guys, don't worry. Eventually, there's going to be people from the Squid Game on the Uncut.
There's a lot of them to get on air, Ramona. 457 of them.
Yeah, so we're bound to have at least the 10 good ones come in to our show. And even with Love is Blind, I just finished watching I think season 4 was a wrap. I think just such nice people as well on socials to connect with them, to understand their experiment, because they fall in love without seeing someone. And it is also a different type of experience, but it's an experience. And I think it's really nice to understand everybody's kind of journey and what they've done. But there's going to be much more of that here on the Uncut. Feel like I saw your face because I watched obviously your elimination and Jeff's now, right? And I'm like, I just saw your face. I know how heartbroken you were. I felt you because I felt like that's how I felt on day 1 when I got eliminated. Because you did everything right.
slow walk that was, James.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, God, I was like, this is my last bit of camera time, so I'm gonna milk it. When I was voted out, obviously, at first I was like, fuck me, they're gonna have to bring me back because this drama was too much to let go. But also, it was just gut wrenching. I just felt really crushed at the time because I just thought to have done so well and get to that point. I never thought I would do that well as a ruler, to be honest. I really underestimated myself a little bit. But then as soon as I got up there and took it in my stride and just did it how I wanted to do it and went to the beat of my own drum and did everything with my head instead of my heart, e.g. Marina went, Cheryl went, Rashika went, do you know what I mean? All these people who everyone's like, oh, they're strong women or whatever. It wasn't about the strong women in the game or the strong men or the strong alliances. It was about, like, at the end of the day, the money for whoever's going to win. And that was my goal until I got to the final. It was everyone's money. So I just think it got lost in translation towards the end that people were there basically to try and win instead of build up that prize fund and prove themselves as good rulers. Like, there was more to ruling than just the prize fund as well, right?
And I think you're right, James, because I think Jack could have won that if he was thinking. He should have thought with this. He lost that moment. He was thinking with his lower torso.
Can I tell you something? I actually said Jack is going to win that money because of how he had that morale in the basement. I know he's going to keep that up, and I knew he was going to keep that up in the penthouse. But the problem is he fell in love.
Yes.
And that changed his job.
But for me, it was just gut wrenching, I think, because I thought, okay, I didn't make any mistakes either. So I just thought it was just a bit of a cop-out to be voted out when I was, really. But it is what it is, isn't it? It made good TV. I thought I'm going to stand up for myself. I'm going to be be the sassy self I actually am now on this table and just defend myself to the death. And that's what I did. And I'm proud of myself for defending myself the way I did. Because I'm not allowed, I don't just shout to, voice my opinions. I'm pretty good with my words. So, Moses went to try and have a couple of words. Jeff tried to have a couple of words. And I was like, well, he'll just have it all off me now.
Yeah.
I'm happy that you actually opened your mouth. I was waiting for you to open your mouth. Like when Jeff went on it, I was like, oh my God. Like, I was like, James, you best say something now. And then when you're like, you're a parasite, Jeff. You're a parasite. I was like, there we go. Like, it's just like, because I felt like you were just closed into a shell for a second. And I was like, sitting in that basement, I was like, is he gonna say something right now, or is he just gonna literally walk out of that room? And then, of course, you both got eliminated. But
but part of the red table was having to listen to what was being said, because even if, like, I could have got saved that point, and I thought, right, I'm gonna make even to the end, right? I was like, right, if I'm here to the end, right, I'm gonna need to make sure this is still a perfect red table for me, because this could be used in another red table if I get eliminated or whatever. But then, like, even when I was saying to Moses, I was like, you were voted up here by another grafter. Everyone sat around you, including your friend Jeff, didn't want you up here. And now you need to prove yourself and show everybody that you don't care about alliances. You don't care about who's up here as your friend. You care about them as a grafter and the prize money by voting Jeff out, the parasite, because this is what he's doing right now. Can't you see it? What he's trying to do. And that's why you want me gone. And the only person here who trusts is Jeff. And right now he's on the chopping block. What are you going to do? So you just let it both go.
To be honest, when I first became a grafter, Moses took me to the boiler room and tried to build an alliance. I was like, no way, you talked to the wrong person. And I think he hated that throughout the whole process. And he said one thing that I didn't forget. He's like, I have a very strong alliance with Jeff, and I'm going to make sure I build on that. If you don't want to play the right way, then you play how. I was like, I'm just going to be myself. And this is why we never had that kind of relationship in the show. Obviously now it's different. It's just a game. But I think, James, what you did is good. You stayed true to yourself. You were a very good leader. You did contribute to the prize fund. And I think you should be proud of yourself. You walked out with your head held up high, my friend.
And there was, well done. And there was one thing that happened when the last work shift where we had to collect the bricks. Jeff was behind me and Rachel for Moses. Last minute, he changed his mind.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to work for Moses anymore.
He wanted to work for Eddie.
We never saw that bit. He went. He went back to Moses. It was really bizarre.
You can't trust anyone.
And what was that with Jack? Why didn't nobody stand behind Jack then?
I think it's because at this point,
Rossi was shit. You never contributed. But I feel like James can defend me because James was at the same time. When we made that £15,000, it was me and James that put together them teams to make the £15,000. But what did Rossi contribute in that time apart from 350 fucking swans?
And by the way, I did these fucking swans and burnt my fingers into the ground. 232, may I say, in 60 fucking minutes. People DM'd me and said, by the way, that's the most amount of swans in 60 minutes, even on the World Guinness Record book. I was like, no way.
We want to see you in 24, baby. We need maybe a few punchlines and a massage to Jack. What else did he contribute?
What massage to Jack?
I know that was me. I massaged his bottom, but he was all over Jack. Like he was up there.
He had spots or something, didn't he?
He had allergic reaction to the washing powder.
Oh, do you remember that?
But I felt like the dynamics changed a lot more when Jack came up, and he don't mind me saying that. It was a lot more intense when he came up than when he weren't up there.
Yeah,
it was very masculine energy, and I really struggled in the masculine energy because I'm not.
The same.
I really struggled to have a conversation with anybody about certain things. I felt really isolated for the first day when it was all men as such. But can we just talk about the fact everyone's going on about it's just a room full of men when it was like quite diverse? It was you and me from the LGBT community, and Jeff was 70 or 80 or whatever old.
Well, I whole racist comments. No one in 21 of those cast members, I can guarantee, were not trying to be racist or discriminative in any of their votes. But I mean, Sophie wasn't up there long enough to, she was up. I mean, I think she beat Ramona's record in that red room.
Can I just say, it's funny how Moses was her best friend. The second she went up there, she dropped him like a fly, like this.
The worst thing of it, Moses already had the backup from Sydney and Rossi.
Yeah.
So, alliances mean nothing in Rise and Fall. Any future people that want to go and Rise and Fall, just do it alone.
What did you say, James?
I said basically stay as a grafter as long as you can.
Absolutely.
Make bread, and then you'll win.
That's exactly what Eddie did. I knew Eddie was going to win it. On day 2, I said Eddie's the winner because you don't bite the hand that feeds you. Never.
No.
Ooh, I like that.
But guys, you are missing the point there. You think Eddie won because he won and baked bread. No one voted him up. You guys have to understand that.
But he still did the right thing. He made sure that he kept a low key. He fed you all. So when it came to crunch time,
The reason I never voted Eddie is because I saw the stronger leadership in Ramona. Do you know what I mean? Ramona was what you see, was what you got. I saw Eddie baking the
Eddie
bread.
Wasn't a leader for me. He was a
I saw that as a compassionate person and empathetic. He was that, but I didn't see him go like, right, guys, this is what we're doing. He was a positive, but with Ramona, what you saw is what you get. A lot of us, if you watch the episode, were a bit like, why has Ramona gone? Like it was a bit like, what are they doing?
Absolutely. I think he was effective, but not dynamic. And he did the right thing. He played the game.
Yeah, because he was kind of the glue, like Sydney and Rossi and Eddie are friends. So there was already that glue bondage there, right? And I got backstabbed twice by Sydney. So, but when it came to the voting of picking me, Isaac or Matt, they of course picked Isaac Quick, which was my goal to get him up there because I knew he wanted to be up there and I knew Eddie would have his back. And then they voted me. But then again, you look at the whole process, it would have been very difficult actually for anybody to come up at that point because it was a strong alliance already up there.
Oh, yeah.
And Eddie was that glue. And, there wasn't much leadership to be done, to be honest. The only thing left now was the brick challenge to get the money up.
Yeah.
And what else is there, my friend? There was like nothing left for us to even reach. So, 85,000, had we not lost that 14 grand, you guys all would have been sitting comfortably on 100 grand. But you know what's funny? When I left the show, we sat on £6,000, right? That when I doubled that money, honey. And then when I came back, do you know how much they were sitting on? 30 grand. So that means they've only made 24 grand in a week. Only. which is mad. It's mad. The money should have sat already at 45, 50 if you do the calculations. Then you would have easily reached 100 or even more by making some minuses and losses and wins. But again, like you guys are saying, a lot of people didn't look at the prize fund from the beginning. I like the business side of things, clearly.
Aim with this podcast then, the Uncut podcast. You guys talk to us, tell us everything.
Yeah.
So the Uncut is obviously a platform where I think it's very cool, and Kieran and Faye and Connor, where we bring people together from different shows. Because it's funny how we always get interviewed or asked from people who have never been in reality TV. And now, you know, and now the fact that we all have done something like this, it's good to understand each other's experiences and maybe show a side of you that wasn't actually displayed on TV. The edit and cuts makes you look like a villain, makes you look like a nice person, makes you look like a good person. People actually don't know the real you. So this is a way of kind of talking through some of the experiences in the show, talking through experiences out of the show, and kind of a little bit more about you as a person. And I'm talking all shows, from Squid Games to Traitors to Rise and Fall to Love is Blind. I mean, I'm talking about a variety of experiences that we're going to bring onto the Uncut, which is never seen before on social media.
Great pitch, Ramona.
Yeah, I love that.
Ready?
I feel like we're in the fucking myth room. Jesus.
Oh.
Love it! Woo!